There's a lot of different components where buddy and lay statements really helps out, even in the fact of non-service connection, but providing you help with the increase.
When it comes to this particular topic, veterans have a tendency to overthink it.
Hmm.
And then their lay statement and the buddy statement that they submit gets really wordy, and then the message is lost.
Why it was able to be identified to be able to adjudicate to a higher percentage is the who, what, when, and how. Basic explanations. And I think once you're able to go ahead and explain that in the lay statement, at that point, you're able to really break down exactly what's going on.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back. My name is Dwayne. I got a video for that Kimball, United States Army veteran and retired VA rating specialist. I am joined again today by Mr. Davis with Vets to Vets. How you doing today, sir?
Doing wonderful, blessed and highly favored.
I know that's right. So, everyone, today's topic, what we're going to be talking about, lay statements, buddy statements. What does some of that wording look like? What is the rater supposed to do when that's in your VA claim? Are you competent to give a diagnosis or just the symptoms? We will be breaking down all of this today as two former VA raters. So, Mr. Davis, I'll pose the question to you. When you rated, or can you give an example maybe of when you actually rated and you received not only a lay statement from the veteran, but maybe from the veteran's spouse? And I'll give an example real quick. I would see, or I've seen where the veteran was claiming sleep apnea, wasn't treated, complained, or diagnosed in service. He writes a letter, a lay statement explaining X, Y, and Z, and his wife wrote one as well. Have you seen something like that?
Oh, on many occasions. I've seen, a typical example would be mental health, right? A lot of times, the symptomatology of mental health is going to be something that is flare up based, but very chronic, right? So anytime PTSD could be in question, there is always, well, if you are 30% and there were symptoms that the wife or friend could be able to explain a little bit better than the actual veteran, and they will then be able to provide a lay statement that will basically break down some of the symptoms that veteran is going through, even whether if it's high anxiety, irritability, or disassociation, or anything of that nature. So there's a lot of different components where buddy and lay statements really helps out, even in the fact of non-service connection, but providing you help with the increase.
That is so true. And I think when it comes to this particular topic, veterans have a tendency to overthink it.
Hmm.
And then their lay statement and the buddy statement that they submit gets really wordy, and then the message is lost.
I
And
agree.
one thing that I always suggest veterans do is think about the condition you're claiming.
Mhm.
So if it's in how you're claiming it, if you're claiming, let's say, migraines, are you claiming it's pre-service aggravation, direct service connection, secondary? Because I think that's going to determine how you lay out that lay statement, giving that VA employee the what, when, why, and how. But most importantly, understanding not only what a diagnostic code is, but what is the diagnostic code criteria for the percentage you feel you warrant. So, again,
Mhm.
example, migraines. If I'm filing a claim for migraines or even an increase, somewhere in my lay statement, I am going to have that 50% criteria. Because
Mhm.
what I've seen, and I don't know if you let me know if you've seen this, where the 50% criteria, in this case, migraines or maybe another condition, it was in the lay statement, but the veteran went to the CMP exam and the doctor didn't check those boxes for the criteria, the percentage criteria for the condition that the veteran is claiming. Have you rated adjudicated a case where you saw that, but you were able the CMP exam maybe
Mhm.
show 30%, but the lay statement from the veteran showed that, hey, they're competent enough to provide the symptoms, and you were able to grant a higher percentage.
Yeah, on multiple occasions. And again, you hit the nail on the head. And why it was able to be identified to be able to adjudicate to a higher percentage is you hit it on the head. The who, what, when, and how, right? Basic explanations. And I think once you're able to go ahead and explain that in the lay statement, at that point, you're able to really break down exactly what's going on. And I think that's the biggest thing because the lay statement could be very, very, very valuable in many occasions, but it also could be something that is not as valuable than you would think if it is not properly structured. But if those properly structured symptoms are there, well, guess what? It is going to behoove the actual rater to be able to rate and provide them a increase in that secondary, in the next higher percentage if the symptoms are there, if the symptoms are warranted in medical evidence, if the symptoms are also is going to be accompanied by a buddy statement that their wife, spouse, or friend or whoever has provided as well. So again, now that adjudicator is now covered, and now they're not going to get any type of negative impact on their decision that they made for the veteran.
Right. And when you were saying the buddy statement, it made me think of something. I'm like, okay, so the veteran has a lay statement showing the symptoms, the buddy letter showing the symptoms. If you have private insurance, may not be a bad idea to go to your primary care and guess what you're talking about? Those symptoms. You get that evidence and you submit it along with your claim. So when you get to that CMP exam, you need to reasonably articulate that to the CMP examiner. But if they don't check that box, not only do you have one, two, but you have three pieces of evidence showing the symptoms that are in the diagnostic code criteria for the percentage you feel you meet. If you don't have private insurance and use the VA, you go in there, hey, I have migraine, very completely prostrating migraine, severe economic inadaptability. Guess what? Because the rater can see that. And if you have that information and they lowball you, you already have your argument for your high level review.
100%. I mean, listen, that right there is a successful strategy. But now we can even take it a little bit further. I know you're the expert and again have a claims nugget for everything. I want to be able to make sure that they understand the impact. I mean, when we talk about the actual evidence, we said again, understanding migraines, that economic inadaptability is very, very real. Why isn't that documented? Why are those migraines and headaches documented in a journal, dates, times, and also labeling symptoms during that time frame? Because now there isn't a question if, again, it is affecting you. It's about if you're service connected and what percentage that we're going to rate you at.
Right.
So now you created yourself a breadcrumb trail.
Sorry to interrupt. I apologize. But before we go any further, I am so sorry. Give us some background on yourself. I know we just jumped right into it. So people, I know we've done live streams before. We've done these videos, and we'll continue to do bring videos every month to veterans. But just let all the people know who you are, what you do, and your background. I'll apologize and make sure I get it right the next video.
No worries. Listen, veterans, I am one half of Prepare to Compete podcast. Again, my name is Kenneth Davis, Chief Executive Officer of Veterans for Veterans, ex-rater, and also veteran myself. And we're, again, naval veteran. I want to be very specific because we're, we have the greatest Navy in the world on a continuous basis. But naval veteran that deployed many times, Operation Iraqi Freedom, Enduring Freedom as well, with a very stark history in raided all across the country to include in Washington, D.C. So really, really excited again about being able to teach here. I think that's what happened. Again, we just got right into it. Just so excited about this topic here.
Yeah, we jumped in it quick, and I was like, "Wait a minute, I'm missing something," you know? So I apologize. But real quick, I wanna share my screen, everyone, because we'll start at the bottom. And people, where I'm at, I'm in the M21 dash one manual reference. And they have 3 really good references here, explaining acceptable lay evidence, when to use lay evidence, and descriptions of symptoms as evidence. So we're gonna drop down to the bottom real quick. And here, Mr. Davis, this is something that part of something I've seen in other parts of the M21-1, where veterans, if they're not medical or mental health professionals, they're competent to provide symptoms,
Hmm.
but not competent to render a diagnosis because they're not a medical or mental health professional. So here it says descriptions of symptoms as evidence. Um, a claimant's own statement covering in sufficient detail a condition that is within the claimant's ability to describe, such as their own, right here's their own symptoms made to that extent constitute evidence. So that's what we just talked about. Like, putting the symptoms in your lay statement, but also I think veterans, when they overthink it, they're talking about things that are not in the diagnostic code criteria. Symptoms that are not, they can have symptoms that are not in the diagnostic code criteria, but you need to be talking about the ones that are. I think that's key.
I you have to, you have to, right? But veterans, this here is explaining that your truth is your truth. And you can be able to explain the things that you're actually going through. Because I know a lot of times we do not position ourselves to put ourselves out there, to have to make ourselves vulnerable enough to be able to speak about our own issues. Masking that is something that is very difficult. Now you have the opportunity to be able to put it in a statement where it does not need to be something so difficult. So make sure when you are developing these buddy and lay statements that we are not giving a full background story. The adjudicator or the rater is not looking to know if you have a dog and a cat and 3 children and so on and so forth. No, they are looking specifically what you're going through, how is it affecting you, and how is it related to service.
Right. I was talking to a veteran just the other day, and they were saying, "Hey, Dwayne, I'm 10% for I'm service connected at 10% for a back condition." So the first question I asked him, "What diagnostic code did the VA use for that condition?" With an ICD code, no, it's different. The
It's different.
diagnostic code. So we had to go through the whole, me explaining the diagnostic code. Where do I get it from? I'm glad you asked. 800-827-1000. Ask them for a disability breakdown letter to include the diagnostic codes. You're going to see
There
the
you go.
10%, you're going to see the service connected condition, and then you're going to see that 4-digit code. You can Google it if you don't know how to find it on the VA's website. It'll tell you the criteria for the 10%, 20%, and 40% for the back. And guess where else you can find that information? In your rating decision. Do you have it? No, I don't. And I'm like, that's a problem. So we were talking about an increase. So I'm like, if I was, I'm thinking to myself at this particular time, if I file a claim for increase for a back, I am filing a claim for increase for my service connected back strain. Diagnostic code 5237. I hope I got that right. Since my last CNP exam, my condition has deteriorated. I
Mm.
continue to have pain on reduced range of motion. And please see my attached private progress notes from physical therapy, whatever that company is, which shows my forward flexion is 25 degrees. Therefore, under diagnostic code 5237, I warrant a 40% based on that particular range of motion, something like that. Maybe
Hmm.
3 or 4
Hmm.
sentences. So I'm telling them the what increase, the condition. Well, the increase would be the why. The what is the condition, and then the diagnostic code criteria. You still have to go. If you don't have a DBQ, go to the CMP exam and get the range of motions. But again, if you got that private doctor, they do the initial range of motion, the repetitive range of motion, and show that you got pain. Now, me as a rater, if that range of motion shows 20% at the VA, I can still possibly grant the higher benefit.
True indeed. True indeed. And now, again, I think you're just giving me an opportunity to give some nuggets here. Okay. Again, I know the veterans, are very grateful for the information that you're providing, but beyond the information, being able to break it down to understandable chunks. But now, in that scenario that you just went through, I think there's a very valuable piece that we can even add. Now, with your current treating physician, your primary care physician, or that actual primary that chiropractor that you've been going to on a regular basis, I want a lot of veterans to understand they have the competency and licensure to note that this isn't it's chronic with no room for improvement. Okay, when we're talking about that level of back condition, a lot of times there are future exams put on that. And being able to literally put that statement in there from your treating physician could change the time frame that your service connected for that back condition.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And I did a video. I did a video on that. I want to pull up when you talked about the routine um, future exam, and I know I'm not going to be able to find it here. Right here. When not to schedule review examination. So, like you said,
Mhm.
veteran to age, 55 years of age. And people call this the 55-year rule, but it's not really, it's in a reference, right?
Yeah.
But when you were talking about, when you were explaining that, this is what I was looking at. Disability is permanent in character and of such nature that there is no likelihood of improvement. So if you get a private DBQ, your examiner can put this in the remarks section. And if the rater schedules a routine future exam, I'm going right to a high level review and say, hey, wait a minute. I'm overall 100%. My examiner said that this condition will not improve. It's permanent in nature. I should have been granted Chapter 35 benefits. You just dropped a huge nugget right there. I don't know if a lot of people caught it, but if you caught it, go ahead and put a fire emoji in the comment section, everyone. But definitely a good call out, Mr. Davis, because a lot of veterans missed that.
Yeah, yeah, and it's just a great opportunity because at the end of the day, who wants to continue to go through the process of, going to the VA, going to CMP examinations, and to be very frank with you, when you are disabled at that level and have those issues of pain that has been chronic for years on end, 9 times out of 10, it's not going to improve. You're going to have the same issues that you're going to be dealing with. So now, if you can go to protect yourself just a little bit more with one statement, why not?
Yep. Yep. And I'm going to drop a huge nugget. And then, Ms. Davis, I'm going to give you the final word after this. What I just showed you, people, it doesn't apply to cancers. And this is why, you got two raters here. We're giving you this information, okay? Because we've adjudicated, thousands of cases where we said yay or nay. So it's important that you understand, what we're talking about. So what we just showed you when it says disability is permanent in character and of such, or the 55 years of age, that does not apply to cancer unless the examiner says the cancer is terminal. Okay, so you could be
Oh,
65, have that cancer, temporary 100%, but unless that examiner says you're terminal, then there still is going to be a routine future exam. So, Mr. Davis, I'll go ahead and give you the final word.
Listen, I think you said it all right there. That piece right there was very, very huge, you guys. Having a stage 4 terminal illness of that nature of cancer, we know, the physician knows, the adjudicator knows. So there's 9 times out of 10 that it's not going to be a future exam. But however, we've seen it happen. So if you have that on your file, and again, my heart goes out to those who are dealing with that. Send it up, veteran, because at the end of the day, it's your file that you need to advocate for. Even though that you have representation, you still need to advocate for yourself. Do not sit back and let someone take the will of your future. And again, when we talk about Mr. Kimball, he is putting out the most valuable information with references behind it. So make sure you take this information and take it to and apply it to your claim, and now also make you and your family's life a little bit better.
Right. So thank you, Mr. Davis. Definitely, I think we gave a lot of good information. So veterans, make sure you go over to Prepare to Compete podcast, subscribe to their YouTube channel because they are giving a lot of information on the VA compensation side, the VA home loan side, a lot of good information. So make sure you go over there and subscribe. And as always, make sure you like, subscribe, hit that notification button, and share this video with your fellow veterans. Thank you.